What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we are going over preseason week two. Just giving a recap from this last weekend that we just had. We'll start off with some NFL news from the last week. Um, we had a couple scary injuries going on during some of the practices this last week, I guess. Russell Gage, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was carted off with a knee injury. Unfortunately, it's been diagnosed that he will be missing the whole season due to this injury. So he will probably. I don't know what his contract situation is like, but I'm assuming that he'll be coming back for the 2024 season and trying to start that one off strong. Another one is Treylon Burks, the wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. He also got carted off. I believe it was the same day, too, for a leg injury. I think it was a meniscus or an MCL. They ended up saying it was just sprained, and he is looking like he'll probably be ready to go by week one. Few other things. We're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, but I thought Kyle Trask looked good. Looks like it doesn't matter. Baker Mayfield has officially been named the starter. That happened a little bit. Happened what, Tuesday? Yeah, happened midday on Tuesday, and also midday on Tuesday, Jonathan Taylor has been granted permission to seek a trade. So he's been in contract disputes. He wants to get a new contract. Um, and this is with that whole running back fiasco, not getting paid enough. So we'll see if someone offers what the Colts will want to trade for Jonathan Taylor, and then also are matching the salary demands that Jonathan Taylor also wants. So it's going to be a weird thing because you have to meet the team's price tag and also Jonathan Taylor's price tag because you don't want to trade assets for him to use them as a 1-year rental. So um, we'll see what happens with that. There are a bunch of teams that could use him. Minnesota's one. We'll talk about it again today. Their backup running back situation behind Alexander Madison does not look very good. Miami Dolphins were in the Dalvin Cook sweepstake. Should they be looking for him? Buffalo Bills, Kansas City, guys that are in the Super Bowl hunt, maybe wanting a premium running back to go along with their passing offense. So we'll see. I think we'll probably hear something by week one, and if not, he'll just stay with Indianapolis, and they'll end up franchise tagging him most likely. So, all right, let's get into these games. The first game we've got Browns were on another Thursday night. So we have Browns versus Eagles. Takeaway I got from the Browns side is that DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's played in 2 games before this, has looked electric in both of those. He kind of came back to earth this game. He had regular people numbers, I guess is what you would say, just, about 55% completion percentage and kind of struggled to read the field or go anywhere with his legs. But Austin Watkins Jr., the wide receiver that we've been talking about every single week so far, did it again. He got targeted, I think, like 14 times this game and went for 140 yards receiving. So he's been all over the place. With the Eagles side, Marcus Mariota didn't look good. Tanner McKee, the other backup quarterback, just looked okay. He looked a little bit better than Mariota, but Mariota was also playing against some second stringers and starters, and Tanner McKee was going up against the third string and practice squad guys. So they didn't look great. If Jalen Hurts goes down, I wouldn't feel comfortable having either of these guys running this offense and really think they can go for a Super Bowl run. So that's a little concerning. But the defense flew around in the first quarter, second quarter, all the way to the fourth quarter with the practice squad players. This defense looks good. It looks like it has good depth. Let's get to this next game. We've got the Carolina Panthers and New York Giants. Panthers O-line struggled again. These were their starters. Ike Ekwonu was a left tackle who I liked last year as a rookie. He was my favorite tackle. He struggled today against average pass rushers, I would say. There's the guys he was going up against are not elite pass rushers, and he struggled mightily. Bryce Young couldn't get anything going because he was under pressure the whole time. So that's a little concerning. We'll see what happens going towards the season, but um, they're looking rough. The New York Giants, Daniel Jones looked good. The first team unit looked crisp. Again, they were only in there for about 2 drives, but just enough to kind of uh, make sure that they're all oiled up and ready for the season to go. Disappointing day for Eric Gray, the rookie running back out of Oklahoma. The guy that everyone thought was going to be a spellback to Saquon Barkley, a third down pass catcher, someone that was exciting for fantasy, just has not looked good these past few days. There hasn't been very many holes for him, but I don't know, he disappointed me. I think he only went for like 20 something yards on 10 carries this game. So um, we'll see what he can do in his last preseason game, but it's not looking good for him to win that backup job. Jashawn Corbin, the second-year guy out of Florida State, looked better than him. So going to the Bengals and Atlanta Falcons, um, Jake Browning looked pretty decent, battling it out for the backup quarterback job. Trevor Siemian just looked okay. So I think Trevor Siemian's more comfortable in the offense, but Jake Browning used his legs as well. He went for, I think he led the team in rushing, if I'm not mistaken. Andre Yosevis, the dude's a baller. Again, another 10 target day, another 70 plus receiving yards. This guy, I'm telling you, this dude is going to be wide receiver 4, and in a year they'll get rid of Tyler Boyd. He'll be wide receiver 3 on this team. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, they might trade T. Higgins. Instead of signing T. Higgins, you'll have Jamar Chase, and then this dude who's on a very, very team-friendly 4-year deal right now because he was a 6th-round pick. It's like a 4-year, $5 million deal, something like that. So if he can keep this up, he's going to move up that depth chart quickly. With Atlanta, we finally got Bijan playing a little bit. He played for about a drive. Didn't do anything spectacular, but he looked okay. He looked fine. I didn't see too much explosion in there, so I was hoping to see a little bit more, but I'm sure we'll see plenty of highlights in the season. Desmond Ridder got the start, little tune-up, and he looks primed and ready. Nothing surprising with him, either good or bad. He just looked solid. Looked like they were running through their play sheet and got everything running how it's supposed to run. Again, you're going up against defenses that are running very vanilla packages. They're not disguising blitzes or anything. So during the season, it might be rougher, but it's good to see him. I think he went 8 for 9 in this game. So good for him. Let's go down to the Dolphins and Texans. Dolphins missed Myles Gaskin this week. He's out for an injury. He looked good last week. That's the guy we highlighted last week. It did not matter. Savon Ahmed and Chris Brooks, the undrafted rookie out of BYU, they're battling for roster spots right now because they got a lot of good running backs on that roster, and they both looked really, really good. Ahmed was explosive. Chris Brooks got a couple touchdowns, caught a couple balls, but he's a bowling ball. Just through the tackles, bruiser. I don't know if he'll make the roster, but he's definitely given the coaching staff a hard decision. He'll probably be a guy that they stash on practice squad, and then once Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert go down, they'll end up bringing him up. On the Texans side of things, C.J. Stroud looked better. He didn't look great, but he looked better than Davis Mills did, who looked really, really bad against third stringers and practice squad guys. So that's a little concerning, I would say. Next game, we've got Jacksonville versus the Lions. Jacksonville, we talked about this dude on the undrafted free agent series. Ventrell Miller. He was not undrafted. I'm sorry. We did not talk about this guy in the undrafted series. We talked about him in the draft process. He's an explosive linebacker for them. Ventrell Miller, he made plays. Tank Bigsby, another draft pick they had, their running back from Auburn. He looked very, very explosive. And then the undrafted rookie quarterback out of Ohio, Nathan Rourke. is turning into my favorite backup quarterback. He is making plays. He's fighting in the pocket. He's scrambling around. He's playing back. He's playing street ball out there. It's fun to watch. He's turned into my favorite backup quarterback in this league by far. The Lions side of things, offense didn't look great. Defense really didn't look great, except for James Houston, the lone bright spot on that team for this one. Again, they played a lot of backups, a lot of practice squad players. They're a team that has a strong starting unit, and right now they're trying to get backup depth in, and so they're just trying to find some guys. They're working with a lot of practice squad guys right now, so I don't really blame them for not looking too crisp in this preseason. Going to the next game, we have the Bills and Steelers. With the Bills side of things, we had a lot of players that looked good. A couple to highlight: Greg Rousseau, the edge rusher. I think he's a second or third year guy out of Miami. Justin Shorter, the rookie out of Florida. And Dalton Kincaid, the rookie tight end out of Utah. They all look very good. Dalton Kincaid looks like the real deal. Justin Shorter looks like he might be coming for Gabe Davis's spot. And then also, Latavius Murray led the team in carries again, was efficient with carries, looked good pass catching, looked good pass protecting. Is he going to lead the team in carries during the season? I'm putting my stake on that. I'm staking my claim. There we go. I'm staking my claim on that. He's going to carry the ball the most for the entire team. I know they have Damian Harris. They've got James Cook. They've got Josh Allen, who they like to run the ball with. I think he leads the team in rushes. And I mean, he's an efficient back. I know he's 33 years old or whatever he is, but he's looking good. He's looking primed. Going to the Steelers, Nick Herbig flashed his ability to rush, his ability to drop back. He just looked super explosive as a linebacker over there from Wisconsin. So he looks like the real deal. They do this every year. They had Alex Highsmith, a guy they drafted in the middle round, super explosive edge rusher that they sculpted into something. Nick Herbig's going to be the same thing, I feel like. Going to the Bears and Colts. The Bears, this is one I know we talked about in the undrafted series. Tyson Bagent 0, the quarterback out of Shepherd, looked good. I think he won the backup job. I really do. They've got a couple guys over there, but Tyson Bagent, I think, won the backup job for the Bears. They got P.J. Walker. They've got a veteran. I don't remember who the other guy is, but he looked good. Zach Pickens, the defensive tackle, explosive defensive tackle from South Carolina, he also looked really good. I told you guys that he's going to flash in preseason. He might not do much in the regular season because he's still trying to get rush package and kind of be more disciplined in the run. But against bad offensive line play with these backups and these practice squad type offensive linemen, he's going to kill them because he's super athletic. He's strong at the attack point, and he did that exact thing this game. He did it last game like we were talking. So I wonder if he'll play much in the third preseason game or if they'll just kind of sit him. I expect him to play at least a quarter or two. The Colts, going to their side, Minshew's dealing. Minshew just looked good out there. He's got moxie. He's throwing it around. Obviously, Anthony Richardson, QB1. They're going to keep three quarterbacks, though, because Sam Ellinger showed off his wheels. He looked okay throwing the ball, but he's a guy that, I mean, he played like Tim Tebow in Texas, and now when I see him in the Colts uniform, I don't know why, but when I see him and I see Ehlers, the dude that's with Seattle right now, Holton Ehlers from ECU, they just look like Tebow running the ball to me. Also, the Wagner GOAT. We talked about him, the edge rusher from Wagner, Titus Leo. We talked about him in our undrafted series. He dominated this game. He got a lot of playing time, and that kind of helped him. But he got like 3 sacks in this game, something ridiculous. A lot of quarterback pressures, some tackles for losses. So he looked really good. I don't know if he'll make the roster but he looks like he'll at least stick on a practice squad, so that's great to hear. Going to the Bucks, Trask looked really good. The Trask to Raheem Jarrett connection looked really good. Obviously, we did get the news Baker Mayfield is going to be the starting quarterback, but Trask, I feel like Trask is right behind him, and it'll only be a matter of time before he gets that start. Going to the Jets, Zach Wilson looked electric. He looked good. He didn't look like he was trying to force things. He was calm and relaxed, and trying to just have some fun with it. With his run, that run was crazy down the sideline, made a guy miss, ran it back inside. And again, Israel Abanikanda, we talk about him every single week. He didn't play much today, which is a good sign for him, being a fifth-round rookie, because he was very, very efficient in his limited role. Spin moves, juke moves, just getting upfield. Zonovan Knight also is very efficient with his touches, and it kind of makes me wonder why they wanted Dalvin Cook. I know they're going for a Super Bowl and everything like that, but it seems like they've got too many running backs right now that you can keep on a roster. I feel like one of these guys, whether it's Michael Carter or Zonovan Knight, are going to get cut, and they'll end up going somewhere else, and I think they're going to have a good role on another team. So we'll see, but I think Zonovan Knight played really, really well last night. Let's see, we got a few more games here. Let's go to the Chiefs versus Arizona. The Chiefs had 4 quarterbacks play. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes played one. I think he played only one drive, or maybe it was 2 drives, but he was super efficient. All the quarterbacks were efficient. All 4 quarterbacks combined for 31 completions out of 38 attempts. Just stupid efficiency numbers. And it wasn't just checkdowns. Their yards per attempt combined was 10.3 yards per attempt. So they were throwing it down the field, intermediate routes, down the field routes. It's a great offense if you understand it to be a quarterback. And they definitely benefited from an Arizona team who's kind of, again, I said I wasn't going to say it, but they're kind of a dumpster fire. It just looks like it. Going back to the Chiefs before we rag on Arizona anymore, Deneric Prince, the undrafted running back out of Tulsa that we hear so much about in training camp, another week where he just doesn't really do much. I don't know if it's because the offensive line's not creating big enough holes, if he's having trouble reading the holes, but he's not even catching, they're not throwing him out on bubbles and just letting him go in space either. He looked okay this week. He didn't look great. I'm waiting for him to pop off. When's he going to have that Emmanuel Wilson game? When's he going to have that Jaleel McLaughlin game? When's he going to have one of those other games from any of the other running backs that we've highlighted in the past 2 weeks? Julius Chestnut. We're talking about Julius Chestnut from Sacred Heart. And I can't get Deneric Prince to match anything that Julius Chestnut does. So it's a little disappointing. We'll see. I think he'll end up making this roster just because they can. He's doing more than Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, but it's a little disappointing when it's in training camp it looks like he's going to be a 1-2 punch with Isaiah Pacheco, and he's just not really doing much. Going over to Arizona, the offensive line struggled again. Clayton Tune, the quarterback out of Houston, struggled. Colt McCoy looked okay, but Clayton Tune struggled this game. Really, the only positive I have is Keontae Ingram. Looks like he's solid RB2 behind James Conner. The defense looked bad. I mean, they just got carved up. I guess they didn't do much. They didn't have much done on them in the run game, but it's because they were just passing it down their throat. They didn't really have to do anything in the run game. So we will see as we get closer to the season if they continue to look this porous on defense and look this stagnant on offense. But I think Arizona's going for either, going for Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver, or maybe they get rid of Kyler and they start over fresh with Caleb Williams. So we'll see as that goes on. Going to the next game, the Tennessee Titans take on the Minnesota Vikings. Julius Chestnut, he does it again. He looked good in the receiving game, looked good pass protecting. He ran the ball very, very efficiently. He broke off another medium to big run. Minnesota Vikings, Lewis Cine, the safety. Lewis Cine was flying around, which is good to see because they're going to need him to step up this year if they're going to go for another playoffs and a division win. The backup running backs don't look good still. They still don't look good. I think they're going to have to look into Jonathan Taylor. What's it going to take to trade for him? And if not, you still got Kareem Hunt out there. You've got Leonard Fournette out there. I think you got to bring one of them in. Alexander Madison's going to be fine, but he's never taken on a full workload. Let's bring in another guy that can be a spell back for him, a 1-2. Even if it's Leonard Fournette, I think that's better than Ty Chandler, Dwayne McBride, Kenny Wangwu, or any of these other guys they've got on this roster. Going to the next game, we've got the New England Patriots. Kayshon Boutte showed us why in the preseason mock drafts he was constantly a first-round pick. I know he fell to the 6th because of attitude problems and disciplinary issues and character issues. But if New England can, keep all that at bay, they got themselves one of the top 5 wide receivers in this draft class. Going to Green Bay, Kingsley Enagbare, the edge rusher, and Emmanuel Wilson are 2 to highlight in this game. Kingsley Enagbare killed the Patriots' offensive line all game. He looked good. And Emmanuel Wilson from Fort Valley State, the guy I talked about in the undrafted series, looked incredible. I think he's RB3. I'm a Kylan Hill guy. I was big on Lou Nichols from Central Michigan, the 7th-round pick that they got, but he's been injured. Emmanuel Wilson said, I'll take that. Thank you. That is my spot now. He went for another 80-something yards, broke off another big run this game. That's back-to-back games that he's broken off big runs and just looks explosive. So that's a nice number 3 back that they'll use in that team. Going to the Broncos, let's talk about one undrafted running back that we like to another undrafted running back we like. Jaleel McLaughlin looked really, really good. I know they have Samaje Perine. They have Javonte Williams, who Javonte Williams played a little bit in this game. He didn't really do much, but he played some. Jaleel McLaughlin looks good. Tony Jones was there. Tony Jones looked solid. But Jaleel McLaughlin, that's my dude. I'm going to keep saying his name. We're going to keep highlighting him if he does well. So he looked good this game. Positive signs right there. Going to the 49ers side, Sam Darnold looked good. Looked better than Trey Lance, but Trey Lance he led a game-winning drive at the end. Ronnie Bell, 7th rounder. I gave them an A+ for drafting this guy from Michigan. Slot receiver only, but he understands leverage, and he does a phenomenal job with release packages and route running. He cooked all night. He cooked the Broncos defense. He's going to make the roster, and he's going to probably battle when Deebo Samuel is running when he's not in the slot and he's in the backfield or anything like that. If you want to add another receiver and have him running as a slot, Ronnie Bell is going to be the guy. All right, we got Las Vegas versus Los Angeles Rams. The Las Vegas, Jimmy G looked good, but Aiden O'Connell, Jimmy G is always injured for at least a few games every season. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue is looking good as the backup. He's looked sharp the last game and this game. That's 2 games in a row where he's looked really, really good, really efficient. Zamir White, also the running back out of Georgia, 2nd-year back, also looked good. He's cooking. Trey Tucker looked very explosive. I think he's going to be wide receiver 3 there. I know he was going against practice squad guys, but he's extremely fast. They use him in the run game on jet sweeps and everything like that. So I think he's going to end up as wide receiver 3 in that offense. So a bunch of the young guys in that offense are kind of looking pretty good. Let's see. We got the Los Angeles Rams. I'll sit up for a second. Los Angeles Rams, Stetson Bennett struggled. He did not look like the Stetson Bennett we were just praising last week. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because his top 2 wide receivers were tight end Davis Allen and Tyler Johnson. So I like Tyler Johnson. He's a great wide receiver 5, but when he's your wide receiver 1 and Davis Allen, a middle of the road tight end 3 is your 2 guys you're really throwing to, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's go to the next game, Dallas versus Seattle. It's deja vu for me. Deuce Vaughn looked incredible again. If you look at his stat line's not great, but play after play, breaking tackles at 5'5", 170 pounds. Bouncing off tacklers, making guys look stupid. And Marquise Bell, the safety out of Florida A&M, the undrafted guy, second-year player. He looked like a stud back there. He looks ready to go. So I'm excited to see him play in the regular season. And I want to see what Deuce Vaughn does through the season as well, because I think he's kind of locked up that RB2 spot. I know Rico Dowdle is also fighting for it. Malik Davis is another guy in there, but from everything I'm hearing, Malik Davis isn't looking that good. I don't know if he makes the roster. Going to Seattle, Roderick Thompson is looking big. I don't remember him being that big. I know he was a bigger back, but he looks filled out. He looks I don't know, maybe it's the jerseys. He just looks bigger. And I think he's beat out DJ Dallas for that RB4 spot. I don't think DJ Dallas makes this roster. I think Sir Roderick Thomas fights Kenny McIntosh for RB3, but it looks like it's going to be Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and then Sir Roderick Thomas and Kenny McIntosh. Those are going to be the 4 that they go with. Maybe they can hide DJ Dallas on the practice squad, but I don't think they need him when they got Kenny McIntosh who can catch the ball, and they got Sir Roderick Thomas who is a bigger body guy. Going to the Saints versus Los Angeles Chargers. Saints look good. Nico Lalos, 26-year-old defensive end from Dartmouth, went off in this game. He got 3 sacks. He got a couple more tackles for loss. I don't know who that is. I just wanted to give him praise because he was flying all over the defense, so good for him. But then my boy Zach Davis went off finally. He finally had a game. He went off. He had like 65 yards, made a couple really good catches. Los Angeles Chargers, Isaiah Spiller. I know we've been talking about Isaiah Spiller versus Joshua Kelly for that RB2 spot. Isaiah Spiller won this round. He looked more efficient with his touches, but Elijah Dotson looked crisp in the passing game. So I think Joshua Kelly is on his last year of his deal. They might cut him. I don't know. He looked like he was the better guy last week, but not by much. It was more of a split decision. This one's still kind of a split decision. Maybe you rock with 4 running backs. Maybe you see if someone wants to trade for Joshua Kelly, but I don't think you're getting anything for him. He didn't look that good. And then Dion Henley, the linebacker out of Washington State that we like to talk about during the draft cycle, he was flying all over the field. We know that he is an athletic linebacker, and he looked really, really good this game. Last game, finally wrapping it up, we got Baltimore versus Washington. The craziest part about this game, the game was a fine game, but the worst, I don't want to say worst part, the craziest part about it is that Baltimore came into this game with a 24 pregame winning streak. They won 24 preseason games in a row, trying to make it 25. And Washington drove down the field and kicked the last-second field goal to win the game by 2 and send Baltimore home with their first loss in like 7 or 8 years in preseason. Keaton Mitchell looked explosive, didn't get that many touches, which is a good sign. If you got a guy that you really like that's undrafted, and in the second and third preseason game, they don't get very many touches, they don't get on the field that much, that's kind of a good sign. That probably means they've already decided he's going to make the roster. Let's evaluate some of these other guys. So he looked explosive in his limited touches. Jeremiah Moon also looked good. I think he sealed himself a spot as well. Going to Washington, Chris Rodriguez was a bruiser, just like we thought he was going to be. He's going to bring a very physical style, and that's what he did. He was just plowing through. He didn't get very many explosive runs, I would say, but he was very efficient and always falling forward, getting an extra yard. He also fumbled the ball, which is what we knew him as, and that's why he fell to the 6th or 7th round whenever they drafted him. It was because he's got fumble issues. His fumble rate is almost at 20%, or I think it's above 15%. I think it's around 17%, which is not good if you're fumbling on 15 to 17% of your touches. And he did it again this game. So I think he makes the roster. They don't really have any running backs behind him other than obviously Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. But it's not a good sign. You're going to lose faith in your coaching staff's going to lose faith in you if you keep that up. So hopefully he can kind of limit the amount of fumbles he has in the NFL. But it's starting off the way that it ended in college. So that's all I got for you guys today. It was a 31-minute video. I apologize for the length, but I had a lot to talk about. So have a good day. Peace.